So we're gonna move. Let's see. I guess we've got a couple of minutes to kill here. So, well, gosh, you know what? If he's here, why don't we just bring him on, and I'm just gonna jam with him for a minute and just chat with my friend Makoto. Is he here?
Hey, can you hear me?
Dude, what's up, man?
Hey, long time no see.
Yeah, likewise. So you just inherited. If you want a few extra minutes, I can give it to you, or we can just chat about other stuff.
I think we can just chat about our lives and everything, you know?
Yeah, so what's new?
Well, I'm in UK, and we are in the second, third lockdown.
Oh,
It's lasting till end of March. I think it's kind of similar everywhere else in the world.
Yeah, Colorado, actually, we reduced our restrictions. We're like one of the few, I guess, but it didn't help us when it came to getting in person, though, because everybody is still kind of doing the same thing.
Yeah, but hopefully, I think we are one of the first nation which start giving out all the shot vaccines. Mm-hmm. So probably by the end of May, June, most of the people in UK will be getting it. So hopefully we can go to ECC camp, the one is scheduled in Paris. I think they postponed from April to July. So hopefully we can start, seeing face to face. But yeah, in the meantime, I think I haven't tried out your virtual setting, virtual land.
You haven't come to the gamer job yet?
I haven't because I was
at 3 o'clock today. Yeah, it's at 3 o'clock today.
Oh,
so I was actually.
What time is it there then?
3 o'clock our time, which is 10 in UK.
Okay.
No, it's
So 8. I'll just get drunk and I'll join.
Hey, it's evening party time, right?
Yeah,
yeah, you have to come check that out.
Yeah, I think once my slide is done, I'm over. I can get drunk and I can do whatever.
Once you get done with the presentation, you'll be ready to go, right?
Yes.
So you're presenting on ENS, right?
Yes.
Awesome.
Can you see? Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. Well, our official community account for ETHDenver is buffacorn.eth.
Oh, nice.
So, well, of course. I mean, what else would it be, right?
Yeah. Yeah. That's great. Yeah. Do you have EastLink website as well with IPFS and all that stuff?
We haven't done all of that yet.
Okay.
We're working on it. Yeah.
Yeah. Then watch out my talk. I'll cover.
Yeah, well, I'm actually going to watch your talk, so I'm looking forward to it. So don't forget to participate in the POAP game.
Oh yeah. What's POAP game?
The POAP game. It's so if you go to ethdenver.poap.xyz.
Yeah.
There's about 60 collectible POAPs that you can receive for doing various things in the virtual castle.
Oh, really?
So going to sponsor booths and collecting little collectibles and doing all these things. So
nice.
And you can actually earn the buffacorn and the spork marmot skins. When you go in there, you'll see a few people run around that have already earned a bunch. It's crazy.
I remember back in 2019 that I was there when Patricio made the POAP, and we did the first event, the what was it, Casa Bonita?
Yeah, it was a Casa Bonita.
Yeah, so we had a Casa Bonita con. We actually went there. Is it still there? Is it not
it is. It has been, but I'm not sure with the pandemic. I haven't heard much about it, but the whole divers and the. So for everybody that doesn't know what that is, Casa Bonita is this iconic restaurant that got made really famous from South Park on the cartoons. So when people come to town, it's the worst food in town, but it's a meme. It's a meme. It's totally like a meme restaurant. So you have to do it if you come.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think we're on schedule now. So you ready to go?
Yeah. So do I start present?
We're gonna. If you have your presenting up, then we'll go ahead and share it for you. There it is. You are ready to go.
Okay. So can you see my slide? Okay. Can you guys hear me? Or okay. I'll assume you can hear me. So let's start. Okay. Hi. I'm Makoto. I'm a dev at Ethereum name service, and I'm very excited to present about ENS today. And so today's agenda is, I say it's 3, but it's actually 2. The first, this is the beginning of the hackathon. So I'm gonna go through ENS 101, describing what ENS allows you to do, because we've been doing for like almost 3 years, and then we have been evolving. So we go through some basic features, and also we can tell you how easy to integrate some of the feature into your dApp. Name some keyword is for lookup, reverse lookup, and ENS plus IPFS. And once that's done, I'm gonna kind of dive a bit deeper to go how kind of hack ENS and kind of extend. And the key, so I'm gonna go through the basic architecture, but keyword is a resolver. And I'm also going to kind of briefly discuss how this resolver architecture will potentially enable us to integrate various L2 integration solution, which probably everybody is talking about now, like with high gas price. Like, yesterday it was like over 300 GWh, and I can't do anything. Now, like, doing anything with ENS also costs like $100. So it's super expensive. So this is very important. And just optionally, that like some of you may know that like ENS, you can kind of issue subdomain. And if you want to know how to do it, I'll just put a slider as a pointer, and then after I finish this talk, I'll upload that into somewhere, so you can just use as a reference point. But all said, pretty much everything should be in our I think URL is a bit docs ENS domains. If you go there, most of the technical document is there, and also you can join our Discord channel and ask questions. I'll probably be there in like European time zone, and Nick is in the other time zone. He's in New Zealand. Nick Johnson is a creator of ENS. And also another good news of like anyone interested in putting a bit of ENS magic into your dApp is like fast. Like most of the time, like it's quite hard to get up to speed with any new SDK, but good news is most so popular, like Web3 libraries, Web3.js, ETHDenver, Python, Java, Go, yada yada yada. They actually have ENS already supported. So chances are, if you want to do basic stuff, you don't even need to know our own JS library called ENS.js. But if you want to go a bit more deeper, you might want to use our library as well. Okay, so first chapter is ENS 101 and the basic integration. So I hope everybody do know the very basic thing about what ENS can do is that, like, hey, this is my like Ethereum address 0x583884 blah blah blah, which I still don't remember the whole hexadecimal, but like if I say matoken.is, like I can immediately remember, and I can actually copy and paste that into MetaMask or Etherscan, anywhere it resolves. And to do that in the in the JavaScript, it's very easy, like ENS get address. So I think if you instantiate in case of Web3.js, Web3 have like some namespace like util or something, and it has like Web3 .ens, then you can do get address. That's easy. And because, well, thanks to being very easy, that also help you to integrate quite a lot. And ENS is basically just a name service, key value store. So on its own, it's very simple, and it can only be useful depending on how many other wallets, exchanges, and the dApps integrate with our services. So thanks to everybody's effort, we now have over 170 integration across like many different like DeFi to like browser to everything. So that's great. And so second step is that so for lookup is like if you give your ENS name, you get Ethereum address. But you can do the reverse, that you give your Ethereum address to dApp, which you always do. When you connect to Uniswap and you connect to wallet, basically you're giving the information about your Ethereum address. Then if you have the reverse lookup set, like how you do is like if you go by .eth name and if you click your Ethereum address, you can set the name to your address, and so by doing that, like if you log into, actually, even in our ENS page, if you see the top left, it says matoken.is. if you go to Uniswap, you can also see matoken.is, and it's quite good. Like I assume that everybody has more than one or two Ethereum addresses, and you don't want to make mistake thinking, oh, I'm in this address and it's actually not. So like this is very useful. One thing, doing that is also very easy. This is an example of Ethers.js, and in Ether, you do like provider.lookup address, and if you pass the Ethereum address, it just returns the name. It's pretty easy. One caveat to the reverse lookup is that like to set I can set my Ether address to resolve to Vitalik.s if I want to. No one can stop it at the smart contract level. So at the dApp level, it's important to do the kind of bidirectional check that like when you, for example, in this ENS app, like I'm actually checking when you set a reverse record, I'm only showing you the names which you already set your address to the ENS name. So unless it's set on the both direction, you can't really be trusted, right? And luckily, if you use Ethers.js automatically do that check already. So like it's one easy way to integrate. And so .eth kind of started like we can provide like not just ETH but like XYZ, or now we're going to integrate with DNS. So if you have a DNS domain name, you can have an ENS name like matoken.com or XYZ. But ETH kind of signify that like you live in a kind of Ethereum world. So like Vitalik started putting ETH in his Twitter profile, almost started using it as an identity and start taking its own life, right? And there's loads of people. So one thing we started noticing is that people, it's hard to sometimes it's hard to remember when to renew, because if you don't renew, it gets released. So we started right. One of my hack is like we wrote a Twitter bot like that like we look into the graph API. We have extensible the graphs subgraph you can check, and so we check like based on the graph, we'll check like whose name is getting like expire or released, and just before like a week ago and 24 hours ago, we start like notifying people, and we at least save a few like Ethereum celebrities from losing a Ethereum name. Another funny incident is SoldierBoy.is, a guy called Mike, who I think works at the Rainbow Wallet. He's massive fan of Soldier Boy, and he has SoldierBoy.is name for like almost 2 years. And one day he told Soldier Boy like, "Hey, I'll give you like SoldierBoy.is." And but unfortunately, Soldier Boy was still new to Ethereum, so he did one of the novice mistake of giving him to the Coinbase wallet. So that now this is showing that like once you transfer the ownership to the custodian wallet, probably people already know like Ethereum 101 that like not your wallet, not your coin, right? So now it's got stuck. His name is stuck in a Coinbase land, and which I think we are in a rescue mission. But another thing, if you think about it, is like ETH name is also NFT. So this whole saga is permanently recorded in the blockchain that like he held a ENS name for like almost 2 years, and only a week ago he gave it to the infamous 5684 custodian account. I'm hoping Coinbase people can do something, but more important thing is I would wish Coinbase exchange start supporting NFT, which is gonna be the up and coming new digital asset. So like I think people would want to in exchange want to manage NFT. Once that's enabled, actually Soldier Boy can recover his ENS. I wish. Okay, so last bit of the basic section is the IPFS and the ENS integration. So our app is hosted on app.ens.domains, but we also have the IPFS decentralized version on the hosted on the IPFS, And by default, if you use a wallet like a .eth supported browser like Opera status browser, and even with MetaMask extension, you can resolve our site with API ENS. But for all other browsers like Chrome or normal Apple Safari, we have a DNS extended version so that it falls back to .eth link. So that in this example, you can see that like API ENS is link, Uniswap is link, and also we have a kind of search engine for these so-called web, decentralized web called Almonet, where you can kind of type and it shows you all the examples. And this is getting quite popular thing. So if you are submitting your hack thing, it would be nice that if you say, hey, check out my blah 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 link. And how you do is it's getting quite easy. That basically again not just setting Ethereum address, there's a thing called content hash. So you put the IPFS content ID there, and to upload your file to IPFS, you can use services like a Temporal and IPFS. But the one we use to manage our API ENS domain is a site called Fig, which is a continuous integration site. So like they do it every time we merge our a branch to master, they automatically deploy. So it's one less hassle to manage all the decentralized things. And I just published a blog post of how exactly do it. So if you're interested in this section, just read it. One caveat is that you have to set that on the mainnet, not on the testnet. And mainnet is quite high gas. So which leads into the second part of hacking ENS. I think I'm doing well, so let me just take a break and then just have a coffee. Okay, I'm ready now. So architecture ENS is actually very, very simple. So we have something called registry, which is the smart contract which you interact with when you're looking up like most wallet and exchanges ask name address to the name. That's the registry. It's just a key value store where like a key is a Ethereum name and it returns a value. But instead of returning the actually your Ethereum address, what it returns is another smart contract called resolver. And so once you first ask registry, give me the resolver which holds the information about my token.is. And then, this is a flowchart. Resolver, give me the resolver, registry, give me the resolver smart contract address of foo.is. And he returns, okay, this is 0x1234. And now on the client side, it's all hidden. So in a JavaScript library, but JavaScript says, hey, resolver, what's the actual Ethereum address of foo.is? And that returns. So it's kind of two steps, even though in the JavaScript, it looks like one call. And what's cool is that probably another Ethereum 101 is that a smart contract is immutable. So if you want to extend and add a new feature, you have to redeploy the entire contract. Then it's quite high maintenance for the dApp to repoint the smart contract address. Now, yes, there's a proxy pattern and all the stuff, but ENS was invented back in 2017, where now these things existed. So this is a kind of very simple but elegant ways to let people to upgrade. And also, resolver is per domain name. We have something called public resolver, which majority of people points to. So most people are using the same resolver, but as we upgrade, we are moving to the different resolvers. So one of the primary, one of the primary example of how we extend it is addition of a so-called multi-coin, that rather than just say get address, return the same address, we now support over 100 different coin types. So you can say send Bitcoin to BUIDLathon. Apparently he has like ultimate like altcoin collector maybe. I don't know if this is actually his address, but yeah, he has loads of his coin addresses, which you can all manage with one Ethereum address. And this is actually added about 2 years ago. And what you do now, yeah, because of that, like I think if you go to Web3, I quickly checked the Ether.js and the Web3.js, and it doesn't look like they expose a new coin type. So if you want to take advantage of this feature, you might want to actually use ENS.js, which is our own library. But like example is like, so if I'm the Makoto.is, hey, what is the address of BTC? This is kind of basic syntax, which is it's very easy. And another hacking example, which actually done during the East New York hackathon back in 2019, is that one team extended content hash, which we mentioned about, like adding support for IPFS to add Onion. So Onion is like a kind of privacy-oriented browser or something. They also have a hexadecimal, so they just added it. And again, you can do it without asking us to do the support, which is the power of ENS. Like you can kind of extend very easily. And now this leads to the L2 bit, which I briefly mentioned, is that so back in October. Vitalik made a famous post called General Public Purpose Layer 2 support. Basically, the gist is, probably most people read it, but like the gist is like roll-ups will be there to stay. So we should start thinking about ways to support Layer 2 as part of Ethereum 1.5, and that will solve a lot of problem scaling issues. And he also presented a kind of general purpose, not just for the specific chain or raw solution. Can we talk about something generic? And he presented one approach, which inspired us to kind of look into it. So after that, we probably had like 2 or 3 different meetings, and the video is all on YouTube, and you can check it. And we invited lots of L2 players, off-chain labs, Optimism, and also the wallet providers. And we did lots of brainstorming, and we added a few new thinking that before, I think Vitalik suggested to have kind of bonding and the staking mechanism just to manage that. But like we kind of added new thinking about like, maybe we should use a trust assumption of the L2 itself, that kind of stuff. So it kind of evolved. Again, it's all in our forum page, discuss ENS.domains. And I put a blog post underneath. But just is, again, we are utilizing resolver that currently ENS is 2-step. You first ask registry to return resolver, and you ask resolver to return address. But now what we are trying to think is, rather than resolver returning address, why don't resolver returns so-called gateway URL, which is just like a web services. And once client get the gateway URL, ask L2 and get the data, and use the data as a proof, and let L1 to verify. So like it becomes a 3-step. And what's good about it is it's kind of opt-in, that like each name domain owner. So for example, I have Matokun.is. Matokun.is, I can permissionlessly decide to choose which resolver to point to, and then which like L2 to connect to. So I have a choice to decide which L2 to go, which is great because ENS is a kind of infrastructure for the entire ecosystem. So we don't want to pick like just one winner, right? Especially this year, like when so many different great solutions coming. So we want to work with kind of generic way. Yet another thing I think I mentioned, I didn't mention, is that like, but at the same time, I don't want dApp or end user to every time oh, this token is in Optimism, so now I have to repoint like my MetaMask all the stuff to Optimism to just reference. So we wanted from the L1, when you're reading the data, the reader doesn't have to think about which layer 2 solution it's connecting to. When it comes to writing it, user has to selectively connect to the specific layer 2, which is still quite like on user onboarding nightmare. But what we are thinking is this kind of shifts from ENS model to currently everybody has our own ENS names, but it's getting very expensive. But what we are aiming is the more dApp integrate with ENS, and the more dApp have their own Ethereum ETH names, and once they start transitioning to their own, and for example, Uniswap may go to Optimism, and if Uniswap decides to issue subdomain, and another thing we are thinking about doing is like we are trying to integrate with some sort of wildcard, so like we sell registry, the Uniswap to create a new subdomain one by one. We might want to allow some subdomain logic as wildcard logic, so that the parent domain of Uniswap can assign a username without actually creating the record on L1. So that means like basically people don't have to pay gas to have their own username. You can do it all done. But as long as if Uniswap decides to use Optimism and they issue subdomain, the user shouldn't have a problem going to the Optimism, right? But when they have this subdomain, when they give to your friend who might be using, I don't know, DYDX or something, which is in a different stack way, you don't want that person to point to Optimism. So from the read side, we want to provide a solution that without end user switching the network, you can get the ENS name. So that's the kind of name. And again, by using the flexible design of a resolver, I think we can do it. And one thing I think you have to mention is, one key is, so we don't want gateway to be another kind of trusted thing. So we wanted to inherit the trust assumption of the L2. So if you go to like ZK rollup, you want to use the trust assumption of ZK rollup. If you want to use optimistic rollup, you want to use a trust assumption, optimist rollup. Then I still have a very limited knowledge of the L2 and the rollup in general, but what I understand is that in many of the rollup contracts, because they rely the security to L1, they have a ways to verify the state. Means if we move the resolver into L2, if you take some proof of the data sets of the L2, you can construct proof and you can verify. And this is one example I still probably halfway understood is using the Optimism. And they have a ways to kind of verify the state root proof and the storage. So most of rollup have something similar. We are still kind of researching if something like Plasma and State have something similar. But we shouldn't have to constrain to just this approach. That if a different chain or like, for example, XDAI or POA, if they have completely different trust assumption, which might be, less, how to say, for example, XDAI or POA, some people says like its trust is limited to these validator, but that's fine as long as this, if I am in, for example, which dApp exists, HoneySwap, like some Uniswap, if the dApp is in XDAI, and if they decided to move their resolver into the XDAI, they trust their trust assumption model. So maybe one way is like, rather than be able to verify the data, maybe we can just verify who signs the proof. So as long as you can verify who signed it rather than which data, maybe that could be okay. So that kind of like a different way of trust assumption using that could be still we are discussing, but like it's still open space, so we have a lot of ways to explore. And yeah, there's one prototype Nick created a couple of weeks ago is in URL, so you can take a look. And so this option 3, yeah, I'll skip completely. But the gist is like, yeah, something like Ethereum or Argent, they are issuing a subdomain to their user, just like a Gmail address. So you could use that, but again, with the high gas, I think Argent stopped issuing subdomain. But like if this layer 2 solution and with the wildcard, this one might come up. But if you want to pay gas for the user, or user still wants to have these domains, there's some pointers here. Okay, so all of this, yes, this is the most important information of all the links I touched upon. And again, if you have any questions, join our Discord, which is in the second link, and ask question freely. Thank you very much.
Makoto, great job. There's actually quite a bit of comments in the chat on Twitch that says it's Makoto, our favorite dApp is ENS. We love it. In fact, it's interesting because like I've heard a lot of people be critical of ENS because of, well, it kind of takes away some of the privacy, makes it really obvious to like where to look. But at the same time, like it's such an important component to making usability for Ethereum and bringing it to everybody. So excellent work. We love it. So thank you so much.
Great. Thank you.
I will see you in Gamer Jive, and we're going to have a virtual beer later.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah, I'll get drunk now.
Okay. Take care.